This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com. This show is brought to you by Slice on Broadway, supporting Pittsburgh podcasting with the perfect pepperoni pizza. Production services by Sidekick Media Services. And listeners like you, supporting us at patreon.com/awesomecast. It's time to get geeky, get awesome. It is the AwesomeCast. I'm Mike Sorg at Sorgatron on the Twitter here in the Sorgatron Media Studios in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Yay! Sometimes I get this like Muppet Show vibe. Yeah, you're doing the arm wave over there. You're doing the Kermit arm wave I'm seeing on the Zoom. But we are ready to go. It is the AwesomeCast, your Pittsburgh state of mind in the technology chatter. Let's get into it first of all from the Big D of Dormont, PA, from Studio C. It is the gadget guru from Big Bank International, Esquire. He is John Chichilla.
How goes it? It's cold again in the windy city of Pittsburgh.
In the windy city. Listen, man. Well, I'm not going to Chicago this week, thankfully, so I don't actually get to the windy city, which I'm sure is still like 5 degrees out there. But good to see you again, sir.
Good to be back.
And
I'm awaiting the snow for the weekend.
Don't tell me that. I have to travel. Anyways, also with us, appropriate today because it is an Apple day. So we have one of the co-hosts of the iPhoneography podcast, David Podnar, on the line with us.
Yay!
And Zoom has completely murdered his peak out there. So, wavy arm! Kermit, wavy arms! There it is.
And apparently, for Apple, it is easy being green today.
No, apparently. We'll get into that a bit. The Apple event today, we'll see if there's anything that piqued any of our interest in awesome things or beyond. But please go check out everything at awesomecast.com. Of course, you can subscribe to the show on your favorite podcatcher. Awesomecast at sorgatronmedia.com. If you want to email us, awesomecast on the Twitter. And of course, we are streaming live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern on the AwesomeCast Facebook page, on the YouTube page, on the Twitter, I do believe, and on the Sorgatron Media Twitch page, which I've been playing a bit of the new WWE 2K22 if you want to see that as well in conjunction with the Wrestling Mayhem show. So looking forward to all those, more games for one thing is definitely happening on the Twitch page. So we're playing with that a little bit more. I brought my Xbox in just to play this new game. So in the proper studio setting, but also thank you to our Patreon supporters, and also thank you to our audio partners at postindustrial.com. That's been supporting the show. And our Patreon supporters, our friends at the Coffee Club level, Matt Weller, John DeGore, John Carmen, Cynthia Klosky, Scott McTaggart, and Mike Pound. And at the fan of the show level, our friends Michael Fedor, Professor Buzzkill, and Dave Podnar. As a part of that, you can support the show. Keep it rolling at patreon.com/awesomecast. And let's get into our awesome things of the week that I scrolled right by them. First of all, it was an Apple day, so let's talk about at least one of the things that this is what I thought everything was pretty standard. Hey, Apple, has baseball. Apple TV is going to get Friday night games or something like that. But
assuming there's a baseball season.
Wait, is there maybe
not
there's
a lockout?
Stage?
There's a lockout right now happening with baseball.
Oh, whatever.
So yeah.
I'm not gonna cry for millionaires throwing a ball.
Oh no,
that's
no,
for
no,
sure.
No.
So but what I am excited about, and this is my awesome thing of the week, and phooey on me for having just purchased a new Mac Mini in the last several months, but I really needed one. I needed a computer, and it's not like I bought it like last month. It was like, I don't know, October, November, something like that. But the Apple's Mac Studio is the big one. Of course, a nice $1,500 to start with studio display that has the nice Visa mounts and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure it's beautiful. I mean, I am the one who's playing Xbox Cloud on a Apple Cinema display from what year, Chilla? I noticed that there's FireWire and Thunderbolt 2 on it.
When is that? 2007?
2007. Is that a 2007 monitor I've been still using?
Oh, I mean the display on it's beautiful.
It's wonderful. It runs hot, but it is wonderful. It's the best display I have, and it's the one you gave me. So it gives me a couple more USB ports for the older drives. I even have I threw a Drobo on the computer back there, and I realized it has a FireWire on. I'm like, I can use this. So it'll be wild using a
2011.
That feels right. 2011 feels like the right vibe from the hookups on this thing. You know what I mean? It feels like what was on the back of my 2011 Mac Mini. So, but anyways, but I was excited for this because I'm always thinking about the Mac Mini is plenty for what I do. I'm not yet doing well, I did a little bit, but I'm not doing a lot of like multicam 4K shoots necessarily. Like we do a lot of live, and then we do some post editing, and we are doing some edits in 4K. So I'm not at the point where I need this power, but I'm always looking at what the next step is for us, the next step of growth or anything like that. So this is the Mac Studio. We did introduce, it's carrying the M1 Max, and the M1 Ultra chip is the new one that they just introduced today. And the stats on this, I was watching the This Week in Tech feed, and they were gasping at some of the benchmarks that were going on there. If you like your expandability, holy crap, we got ports. We got 4 USB-Cs on the back, 2 USB-As. Of course, your standard Ethernet HDMI, but on the back, on the front is 2 more USB-Cs. And do my eyes deceive me? Is that an SD card slot?
It is indeed. And don't forget, on the back, you have not only a headphone port, but that headphone can work on external speakers. For telling us, oh yeah, we took out the headphone port of the iPhone because we're brave.
And we supercharged the one over here, right? Again, I say M1 Max, starting in the 1999 model, and in the $39.99 model, I believe it's start of the Ultra. This is the most impressive part. So we're talking about the M1 Max, the 64 gigabyte unified memory, which means your graphics can access that much memory. The M1 Ultra has 128 unified memory. Now, I believe that has a shared memory between your graphics processor, your graphics side of the chip, and your standard system memory. But that also means your graphics can access up to 128 gigabyte of, and what it was like, I think Lindsay was saying on Mac Break, he's like, I haven't seen a video card that went going over like 42 or 48 or something like that. That alone, if you're doing some crazy video stuff, 3D stuff, gaming stuff, CAD, this is gonna take care of you very nicely. And they just slipped a little bit. And not to mention what we're going to do next with Mac Pro, which is a story for another time. Oh, damn it. This is, this is the high end. This is the wish list for somebody like me when I'm talking about my setup here for the studio. It really is. Like, this is the highest of high end. And apparently not even the highest of high end, because they got something else that's going on there. It's really, really impressive when it comes to graphics, when it comes to that high end work. And look at this. This is like, it's like 2/3 heat sink and fan. So that's the only reason it's so big, because you need to do something with all that heat it's generating from that high end stuff. Because remember, like, the M1 has classically, because it's a mobile chip, run cool, right? Compared to, say, an Intel part.
It was interesting because I saw someone actually, because they didn't redo the form factor on the Mini originally, and it was based on the laptop chip spec. They actually took the Mac Mini with the M1 and reduced its size by like 75%, and they made it like it fit in a very small almost like what you would see a Raspberry Pi case.
So okay,
And they got that working heat efficiently. Now, obviously, this with the M1 Ultra is not going to be
no
as heat efficient as the
no, but I mean, I'm sure it's heat efficient in performance comparison versus the same Intel parts saying doing that, and how much heat it's going to generate. This is I have not, like, every once in a while I'll be like, just feel the Mac Mini. I have it kind of out of reach. Because everybody, by the way, this looks ugly. They keep doing the shots of this thing sitting on the table, like right beside the cinema display. They're really kind of touting these as going together. It's kind of an ugly thing, isn't it? This reminds me, do you remember there were these Mac Mini kind of wannabe computers where like all the outputs were on the display, and it was like a Lenovo or something, and it was this little ugly box that had to sit on your this is like 10 years ago, right? When we're talking about having these like smaller form factors and like Windows computers. But it would be this ugly box that had to sit like basically right beside your monitor because of the way they connected everything.
I remember the one that was actually like an all-in-one, but the box, it was like they made the base of the monitor almost like what the Mac Studio looks like. But because back then you still needed CD drives and you still needed
or even
3.5-inch floppy. You pushed down on it and it like the drive bays rose up on a tilt, so you could.
Well, you remember the old Mac Mini or the iMac, right? Was the one that had the lamp. The lamp. Yeah, I had a friend that had that. Man, I wish I had that one. That's what I need the collection, is one of those in a cube. So I got the old tube, the original iMac looking one. I got a couple of the white iMacs, but I need the in between. I need the cube, and I need that. I got a PowerPC though, like a G4 PowerPC tower hanging around somewhere too. So somebody let me raid their old computer closet, one of the clients. So I got a nice collection of old Macs now. But anyways, and how many of those can I put cloud or Google Flex on? So, which I just downloaded on the thumb drive and haven't used it yet since I put Cloud Ready on everything already.
So where does this fit in with the Pro, the Mac Pro?
Well, where are we at with the? Well, here this is the new silicon. So also think like we're not like there's a Mac Pro out there. And what was the cheese grater, right? Like we're still doing that?
Yeah. That's still available. I heard someone say the 27-inch is no longer available.
Gone.
Okay.
Yep. The 27-inch
the 27-inch Intel all-in-one is gone.
Yeah, is gone.
Okay, that's the trash can Mac, right?
No. That's the monitors built into the CPU.
Oh, the iMac Pro?
iMac.
The iMac Pro's been gone for last year.
Okay.
This is just the 27-inch iMac. That's gone. The only iMac they have is the 24-inch with the Apple Silicon.
So, and currently we do have a cheese grater Mac Pro situation, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And this is so I mean this is
the only one running Intel at this point.
Only one running Intel,
but the only one running Intel.
But it's also the only one with expandable cards. Like, and this is we went back to that. So go ahead.
I heard they released, maybe quietly on the side. AMD released a new video card targeted at that.
Okay.
That build.
So I feel like this is going to be, we said we're going to announce Mac Pro, and maybe there's an M1 Ultra 2 or something, right? Whatever that's going to be. I don't know. We have a lot of descriptive words we can still use because apparently we're using all of them for these M1 chips because this is like the fourth one or something, right? Because we got Max, we got what was the other one? There's there Pro, Max,
Max, and now Ultra. So you got the base, Pro, Max, Ultra, and basically.
And I'm just running a base, and I'm like ripping through my stuff. I'm loving it. I couldn't imagine if I had one of these other chips.
Well, that's the one thing is that when I'm seeing these YouTube people compare, now admittedly they're laptops, but they're comparing the M1 Max to like an i9, the new one that Intel just came out with, and they're running head and head. until you take them off power. In that case, the Intel goes,
Yep.
And Macs are like, oh, you took us off power. We're still running. Yep, we're barely warm. Yep, we're keeping good. And like I said, this is two Macs. Maxes put together with their special proprietary interface, which I read somewhere that AMD had something similar, but this is going to be quicker, I think. Just Apple setup.
So this is like because I believe the Mac Pros, and by the way, comparatively, the Mac Pros start at about $6,000. Comparative to the $2,000 and $4,000 Mac Studio. So you're telling me like I know even these Mac Pros, I think especially you can get like something with like 2 Xeons, right? So it's basically 2 Xeon processors, Intel Xeons, which are their server class CPU on your motherboard, and then that communication have to happen through the motherboard, so that's going to be decisively slower than if we like smash the chips together, which apparently that's what we're doing, because we are literally stacking these CPUs together and connected. Instead of just shoving more cores into that silicone, we're just doubling the silicone and basically doubling the capabilities. I'm sure it's not a complete doubling of capabilities. I'm sure it's like
it's pretty
like
it wouldn't shock me if it's close. It wouldn't shock me if it's close, because they said
it's proprietary.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but the way that, of course, we're only going after Apple. What Apple said is the way they wrote everything, and of course, Apple can do this because Apple writes all the way down. The software treats it like one big CPU.
Right.
So it doesn't treat it like how if you have like, 2 CPUs and you have to somehow read that, oh, use CPU 1, now use CPU 2. It just treats it as one massive CPU. So nothing has to be rewritten or re-optimized for a 2 CPU versus a 1 CPU unit.
I mean, think about when you pull up like activity on a Mac or a PC, like, and you see the cores, right? Like, something needs to manage what tasks are going to a core, because they're kind of seen as separate CPUs, right? In at least, as we've been growing into these. But you're telling me like this will be, everything's handled in silicone, and it's going to be a smoother, path for everything that rolls through there.
Yeah. So basically, as part of, in terms of going into the operating system and into the hardware, it looks like one big CPU. There is no, which chip, it just handles it like one massive CPU. So there should be almost no overhead in terms of having 2 CPUs versus 1. And since this is a system on a chip, you don't have to worry about writing to memory off a chip, because the memory's on the chip. And the neural engines are on the chip, and everything that Apple can put and say.
Wait, you're talking about the cache? You're talking about like that 64 gigabytes?
The 64 128. That's the M1. Remember, it's all the system on a chip.
Oh, I forgot so that the RAM was in there too.
The RAM's on there. That 128 megs of RAM is on the chip.
Jeez.
So that's why,
I forgot about that.
This is going to be. That's why they were saying about all these numbers being so massive. Because you're not going off a chip through a bus. You're there. So this is legitimately going to be the, and only wrestling fans may get this, unfortunately, the Vince McMahon losing his mind, falling off a chair, where you go, huh? And then the Macs, the Ultra going, ah!
I love it.
And falling off.
I love it. Oh, man. This is wild.
Like I said, the M1 Max is matching the newest i9 when you see people, real world processing. It's matching the top of the line. And now Apple says, oh, by the way, you want a desktop. Boom. We just blew away our own top of the line chip. And Intel doesn't have an answer for this unless you go server side, like the Xeon, unless you want a Xeon, which good luck putting a first of all, anything that small with a Xeon. And they said, now again, we have to go off Apple, but based on their history with the M1, and
they've delivered. They have delivered.
They delivered. So they said it's pretty much for most tasks, you're not going to hear it right there. And if you're doing, and like I said, they even showed like, oh, you can connect 4 monitors plus a TV to this thing.
That was one of the gasps on the feed I was watching too.
Oh.
I just heard Leo Laporte go like, okay, all right, you have my attention here. I'll never have that much monitor space, or at least not at that case. So I didn't hear, and also I didn't hear because it talked about 7K instead of 8K, and we're kind of curious what that was. I didn't catch the Alex Lindsay response. I'm sure I'm going to catch it on an Alphas Hours in the next couple of days, but I'm really curious about that too. So maybe that's what you need the Pro for that last K.
I don't. Well, I know that
I'm barely using 4K anywhere. So
no. But I know, like, I have a 4-year-old or so iMac 27-inch, and it's 5K. And one thing they said is you could play something 4K full size and have room for all your controls and everything. So you can do native 4K resolution and then have the controls on the side. So that's why I think, like, when you're seeing like with the display, that's that extra little gasp of, oh, I could run all this and have room, have breathing room. And this is, I don't know high-end displays, but the fact that it's, the cost doesn't seem crazy for a for high-end display. 27-inch with and you know what, the fact that the camera is the ultra wide where it doesn't look like it's going to suck. It's the same one that's on the iPad pretty much. And the speakers look amazing here. Talking about the speakers, they seem like they're pretty good, especially with the way the speakers are when you hear the reviews of the the MacBook Pro speakers. So it isn't going to be like you have a great monitor and crap speakers and crap monitor. You're going to be able to get by in a pinch for audio conferencing and everything else.
I love it.
But like everything else, this is not low end.
No, absolutely not. I love it. But no, just glad to see there's options there. And one of those, like, down the road when I have a little more to work with, I can definitely see one of these being in the office and, relegating the old M1s to a rack on my on my switcher setup, or something like that. I love this. Like, this is exciting. This is very exciting to me. So. So let's get into you guys' awesome things of the week. I don't want to apple this up too hard. But anyways, Chilla, let's just go down the line here. Chilla, what is your awesome thing?
Mine isn't nearly as fun or as expensive for once as the Mac Studio, which I noticed. Are you going for, if you go all in, you're at $8,000.
I did not do the spec on this thing yet.
If you go all in minus the storage, you're still at 5,800.
You know what? This is appropriate though, because I have been playing a lot of video games on my Mac Mini thanks to cloud.
But and now so I'm a huge fan of 8-bit Do's controllers. They make a number of controllers, both wired and wireless, that span most ecosystems: iOS, Android, Windows, Mac, etc. They released their Xbox wired controller today. And by Xbox wired controller, I mean it looks like an Xbox controller. It will work with Windows. Typically, they will work with other operating systems. I don't know how you're going to necessarily hook this in.
Whoa! It's wired
to an iPad.
Yeah.
Because it's wired.
I think you can. When I went to do something on my iPad the other day, it said connect a Bluetooth or USB controller.
Yeah, if you have the camera connector kit or one of the docks, typically, you can do that kind of stuff. The thing that I always find interesting about 8-bit Do, and they did it again with this device. You can connect to it and configure it via software for Xbox, Windows 10, Android, and iOS. So you can connect to it. You can remap the buttons. You can you can customize each individual stick for higher precision control. You can adjust the range and motor intensity of the triggers, and you can reconfigure the vibration motors. The interesting thing I like about these is they also have kind of under the controller, I don't know what you would call it, buttons. I guess if you look at the one section about right under where they're setting up the remap from the phone, where the vibration, see there on the vibration, see how they have that back. Those are on both sides, and you can customize those button combinations.
Doesn't the PlayStation have something like that?
Do they? I don't remember.
Maybe it's not them, or maybe there's a PC.
Or maybe it's the high-end Xbox controller. Like you have to pay the almost $200 Xbox controller. So no, I really like these. They actually have an integrated headphone jack. It's both headphone, microphone, and you can mute and unmute the microphone right from the controller. And what I always like about their devices is I always feel like they're pro quality but decent price. So this device comes in at $45. It's $44.99. It is pre-order right now only. I pre-ordered one of their last controllers. Love it. Highly recommend it. And the interesting thing is they always keep their devices up to date. Typically, there's firmware updates you can apply. So just all around, decent company, decent devices.
That's not a bad price. That's really not a bad price for Xbox Series. And we know it's a good build.
And the fact that it's a good build. You can customize the precision, the triggers, the vibration. Your typical controllers in this realm are, like I said, $200.
I like it. By the way, this reminded me because you say I have an original Xbox One, right? I got off of like, I don't, not Craigslist, one of those apps. What the heck are the ones that are like the Facebook Marketplace? Yeah, like Let Go or something. So I'm still using the same controller that came with it. I have other controllers, mind you, but I have like a brand new Xbox controller that sits at my desk in the back, and that's what I play my cloud games on when I'm here late and just waiting for like Missy to finish the meeting. I beat War for Wakanda, by the way, on that last night, and then like I have a nicer one, a newer one that's still an Xbox One controller, not a Series X. That is what I use to play cloud games on my phone. It's what I pack into my backpack, or it's or on my Google TV. So, but this one is so old, it doesn't have a headphone jack, which is standard now, right? So I don't know if you've seen. I have this Turtle Beach adapter I got for like $40 or $50 a while ago when I was trying to get the Twitch working on the Xbox, like through the Xbox. So, and it's got a nice, and I got a cheap headphone, kind of thing, like $20 headphone thing I got off of Amazon. And it's got it's just got like straight up controls. Like there's no like, I hope this is good. Like you have a microphone control and you have volume control and everything on here too. So I just thought you appreciate like my little like old hack for this thing. And yeah, this thing's like really, like, look at the stick right there. Like that's pretty whacked out. No, but look at the top of it. It's all like, I don't know, maybe a dog chewed on it or something. It's got no pad on it. This is what I play probably the most is on this controller. I'm going to ride it till it dies. And I really should treat myself and get a new controller for that, and then the problem is I can't use this on anything else because it's not the same Bluetooth.
Yeah.
So it's
funny because I have the same controller, and I actually got the Microsoft version when I got Microsoft headphones.
Yeah, this is a Turtle Beach
that plug into the bottom. Yeah, and I still use it to this day.
Yeah,
use it all the time.
Yeah, it just works out for me. Dave, what's your awesome thing of the week here?
My thing is actually GM working with Pacific Gas and Electric.
Okay.
So they're looking to turn electric vehicles into a virtual power grid in California.
Explain.
Sure. So you figure that now they're looking more 5-6 years down the road, where there's going to be a lot more electric vehicles on the road, a lot more vehicles plugged in overnight. So instead of, let's say, hold on, I heard a cat in the background.
You have some cat action happening over there.
I heard that. Yeah, I know, which
like,
it's not her. I don't know what's happening there. But the idea is that, let's say you have solar power, a lot of people using solar power, especially for newer construction, that your car's charged up with solar power, and your battery in your car, let's say, has enough for 2 days supply, 2 to 3 days supply. Well, you lose power, you don't need a generator.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say your car's plugged in and it allows bi-directional charging. So the grid needs a little extra charge.
Mm-hmm.
It's overnight. Your car doesn't need a lot. It just siphons a little bit off of everyone's car and adds a little bit back to the grid. So the power company would actually pay you.
Interesting.
Or let's say, because, power use goes up and down, up and down. If you have a smart meter, that's why it charges you more during the day than at night. It could say, well, instead of having a natural gas generating station, we're just going to, we're going to use the electric cars that are plugged in and use that for any extra power we might need.
Mm-hmm.
And then what we're going to do is, now there's a dip in demand. So we're just going to charge your thing back to you.
This is obviously not something that we're going to expect in the next year. They're talking about, like I'm seeing in this article, GM expects that we'll have 1 million units of EV capacity in North America by 2025. So, right. I mean, this is a long tail solution, right?
Most definitely.
This is a spec at this point, more or less.
Right.
So, but this is this is the kind of thing you'll turn around in 2028 and be like, oh, hey, isn't that grid working out okay over there in California?
Yeah.
Hopefully, obviously. So, but I mean, that's a cool idea.
Yeah, and instead of having brownouts when power goes or there's a huge demand. They even say like a Chevy Bolt, which is not exactly the biggest electric vehicle or the biggest battery electric vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
It has, for an average home, 3 days supply in the battery.
It's almost like, it feels like, it feels like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like the SETI at home for EV. Because remember, SETI at home was like taken when your computer's just sitting here and let it process some things so it can help us go chunk through this data. Maybe you're contributing a little bit, but when everybody's contributing a little bit, it's like the biggest supercomputer. I think it was labeled the biggest supercomputer on Earth for a bit there. I think we've talked about that on the show. But you're talking about like we're sharing that this is contributing back and making that capacity kind of less wasteful as it's sitting there, I suppose.
Exactly.
So very, very interesting. And also some of these. Don't some of these EVs fill their battery based on kinetic energy as you drive? Am I mistaken in that, or is that hybrids?
Well, that's both. That's both. So you don't just run out. It just as you're braking or going downhill. The braking, there is regenerative braking. It can do that way.
So we're not talking about filled this thing up off of my house electricity, paid for that, and now I'm giving it back to the grid. Like, we're talking about this is energy that was potentially generated kinetically, so it's not energy you paid for necessarily, right?
And it may be, but it also is, at least I know from my dad's experience, he has solar panels on his house out in California. So when his solar panels are going, it goes back to the grid.
Yeah, because
more than he needs. He's
Right.
generating more than he can consume, right?
Exactly. So that's why sometimes his electric bill is negative. Because he's generating less than he's doing, so he's selling it back. Same thing could be here. You're driving along, we're gonna do this, and of course this would be, you need a smart meter, and best case scenario is people, and you see people around Pittsburgh with solar panels.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been courted to put solar panels on my house a couple of times.
Germany is a huge producer of solar solar energy.
I thought was interesting. I grew up, I got all the news from Youngstown, Ohio, which means I always heard about the Lordstown plant in a GM plant in Ohio. And now with my work, it's right off of the turnpike. So I pass it like once a month, if not twice a month. Well, literally twice a month because I have to drive back. But it is wild. Like even that, like I saw like their half their parking lot is now solar panels. Right. So like I don't know what that just. I mean, it fits for the story, I suppose. But well, and they're not GM anymore. They're like Lordstown Motors. It's independent. I don't know exactly what that all means, but I think it's one of those co-ops actually, where like everybody owns a share or something. So which is also very interesting. But anyways, no, this is very cool. Especially so they're especially looking at this in California, where the power grid is a problem. So I love to see if this. I hope we turn around on this in 5 years and see whether it worked or not. So
and I can tell you that there's already a lot of standards written and ready to go for connecting electric vehicles to the grid, to each other, charging. So that's all the standards are ready to go. The standards are ready to go. So just a matter of building, and it's building not only the cars, but the infrastructure. So it's not going to be a quick overnight thing unless there is some kind of major investment from both government and industry, where kind of like electrification in the like 1920s and 30s, where there was this giant push. Okay, everyone's going to get electrified now, and we're going to really push to do it. Same thing with this. Okay, we're going to make sure everyone's electrified, so we can all be. I mean, this is one way for energy independence.
I think just the world events are going to be pushing things along the way as well, right? I think everybody's looking at. I know it's not. Everybody's like. I see those comments with gas prices and everything going on right now. It's like everybody should go get an electric car, and I was like, for some of us that have never paid more than $20,000 for a car, or $16,000, I think in my case. I'm not getting an electric car because that's like 30 minimum probably right now. Like I don't think people understand. Like they're like, oh, everybody should get an electric car. It's like, no, some of us, like the guy at McDonald's not getting an electric car, guy. No. It's not happening. So like I don't, sure, middle class can think about that, but middle class maybe not even in most cases. But man, like most of us don't live in that world. We can just roll out and do that on top of the price and supply issues. This will be a great time if we didn't have supply chain leading into another world crisis that is putting further strain on supply chain. So, but that's a whole other thing. So, but hey, they're looking forward and glad to see stuff growing on here. I got another car one later. Hopefully, get around to it because I know you're got your head in that a good bit with your our shared employer / contractor. But anyways, but in the meantime, I want to share about reduce your carbon footprint by. No, you know what? No, that fell apart. Because I'm like, have somebody deliver pizza for you. Like, no, that doesn't work with the carbon footprint. You know what? Carbon footprint be damned. Go get some good pizza. It's just in your neighborhood. Probably in Pittsburgh.
And it's like a ride share.
It's like a ride share. Have them ride share your pizza to you. That's it. Rico, you can have that. New York City style yins are made in the friendliest damn pizza makers I've made. Not like that other place I hate to go because they're kind of assholes about their uncooked pizza. I'm not saying who they are. But anyways, Beachview, Carnegie, East End, North Hills. Check them out. Our friends at SliceOnBroadway.com supporting Pittsburgh podcasting with the perfect pepperoni pizza for a decade now. Damn it. One of these days, I'll actually court another sponsor. But these guys take such good care of us. I'm comfortable with them. It's great. I can't believe they're still doing it. I thought like, oh, this will last like a year, and in 10 years, they're like, got your pizza? Yep, let's go. So, but supporting small business, local business, wherever you're at, please do it. If you're not in Pittsburgh area, find a great local pizza place. It's not the way I want to say that.
Hopefully cooks their pizza.
Hopefully cooks their pizza and aren't dicks about it. Hit me in the DMs if you know who I'm talking about. I will not publicly slander, but I will not give you my business. Microsoft, let's do games for a wait, hold on. Do we want to talk more Apple before I get into the list? I actually have no Apple on the rest of the list here, and we got a lot to talk about. Well, that we could talk about. Obviously, we don't have to. But I mean, is there anything else from today that really stuck out to you? We got an iPhone SE, got the upgrade, got the new chip, fantastic. Starts at like $430, I think. Great for the low level. Hey, that's like $5 a month on your next plan on AT&T or something, right? So where I am currently paying for SE phones for my in-laws right now. But anyways. So we had that and an iPad upgrade. The Air got an update. Is that right?
Yeah, the Air got an update.
Okay.
The Air is now basically to me the Air is almost a Pro because it has the M1 chip. Mm-hmm. It has that ultra wide front facing camera which can do I forget what Apple's term for it, but basically as you're doing video
center stage.
Center stage. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Cello. But yeah, so if you have someone come in the shot, it'll widen out. If you walk from side to side, it'll follow you along.
My God. It's
got the 5 Gs. It's got all 5 of the Gs.
This is where I'm at in my iPad world. I just co-opted Missy's iPad that I believe we got for 99 cents with a year contract on AT&T. And I got the iPad Pro, and I looked. I was just kind of curious. I'm like, well, what specs are these things? And I realized it's got the same CPU in it as the iPhone 6S. And now I'm looking at the Air because I'm like, also like, hey, I need to get her a new iPad because she simply just like tossed me hers. I needed a teleprompter, guys. We got a client that I need a teleprompter for, and the teleprompter I bought like years ago, used once for a project that then canceled us. So I needed a normal sized iPad that wasn't a 3 that could actually play stuff. And so it just became mine. So I really want to I'm pricing it. I'm trying to get her a new iPad. So, but I'm realizing now I'll get her an iPad that has the same chip as my Mac Mini. So she has yet another highly overpowered device she will never touch the potential of. Just her NVIDIA GeForce RTX laptop I'm jealous of because nothing I have will play Halo Infinite as good as her laptop that she will not game on. I'm not jealous. I'm not jealous at all. I'm just going to say, nope.
Happy wife, happy life. Happy wife, happy life.
Yes, exactly.
But
and I'm like, how are those social media posts going? Anyway, I'm sorry. I rag on her. Yeah. She doesn't watch. So anyways, go ahead, Dave.
No, what I'm saying is, unless you need, and I mean need, the either 13-inch screen with the Pro, because this thing's 10.9. Mm-hmm. It's basically 11. It's almost like the smaller.
It's iPad size. To me, that's iPad sized.
Yeah.
What size is it? iPad.
So I mean, it's 10.9, so it's 11 inches, so that's large. Mm-hmm. Considering the original iPad was 7.9. Mm-hmm. It's got the True Tone, it's got the wide color, the screen's going to look good. It's not going to be the mini LED like the Pro. Mm-hmm. It's not going to have, the LiDAR in the back, which honestly, I don't think many people use on the Pro, unless you do like 3D modeling. I mean, it helps on the phone, but the iPad, I don't know. But if you want a powerful tablet that you're not going to run out of juice, since it does run an M1 for years.
Hold on a second. Can somebody tell me what this game is? Because it looks like Fortnite, but it's definitely not Fortnite. I'm like, wait a minute. What are we doing here? Apple, what are you pulling a pull?
What game is that?
I don't know. It's random. I have no idea what this game is. It's probably listed
no idea
right here. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
No. But I mean, and that also, I would say if you are looking at a new iPad and you want something beyond the base, the Air is great. Get the 256.
Okay.
Don't get the 64 gig. Yeah, the 64. That's something that ticks me off. 64 is just ridiculous.
Guys. Guys. There's a purple one.
Yeah, there is a purple one.
Oh no.
It can't be just called purple.
It's just called purple.
It has to have a way cooler.
It's got purple.
Yeah, no, it's just called purple.
Yeah, no, we don't. Oh, until we get to space gray and we got blue, pink,
Starlight.
and purple. And Starlight.
And Starlight.
Yeah. Starlight, which is like beige, but yeah.
Damn it. 749. Man.
Well, these now like they have the connector on they have like the magnetic connector on the back, so you can use like the Pro
Mm-hmm.
style keyboards.
Yep.
It's using the newer pencil. They moved these to USB-C, right?
Yeah.
So it's USB-C, so you can actually hook a bunch of other stuff into it. Like it does native DisplayPort over USB-C.
Mm-hmm.
You can do, you can plug it into a USB-C hub. What surprised me is, well, and I guess that's a Pro feature, no Face ID, but they moved Touch ID into the power button.
Yeah.
And I'll say, reminiscing of the original iPad Pro, I still have the OG,
which is what I'm running
with the Lightning connector.
Yep.
And I feel like it's finally, that came out in what, 2016?
Maybe 2015.
And it's finally feeling old, but only in the battery life, not in the process.
Oh, dude, mine plugged in all the time. Guys, this is what I'm using right now. Is the iPad Pro. Mm-hmm. This is what I've been showing everything on. And by the way, I've been stopped listening to you guys ever since Purple. And I also customized my iPad. I'm completely not going to buy. I love purple. There you go. That's what I'm going to put on the back of it. Yep. I love it. We'll put a unicorn for funds. There you go. Now we got a unicorn too. Sorry. Okay. Anyways.
But no, like you said, like Ruth got an iPad Pro back in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And that's her main computer. Mm-hmm. She got the 13-inch. That's her main computer. That's what she streams.
I mean, my God, you get these. Yeah, that's not an M1, is it? Is that a pre M1?
No, that's before M1.
Because the chips pre M1 were still pretty fantastic, guys. Like pretty fantastic. And it's
and like I said to her, okay, this new Air comes out, your iPad, and she's like, it's great. It's not slow. There's no slowness. Mm-hmm. There's no issue. And we got the pencil with her, and she's like, yeah, everything works great.
I'm still
and that's
shocked.
the thing with iPad. It's going to if someone buys the 256, yes, it's $150 more. You're going to keep this thing for 4 years at least.
Dude,
at least it'll work perfectly.
Like I cleared the 8 Plus, and I am still shocked at how snappy it is. Mm-hmm. Generally. I mean, all it has is a couple of video apps that we use, right? So I can turn this into a camera, but it's pretty nice and snappy, to be quite honest. So, I mean, again, battery is completely crud on it. Actually, it's been replaced, so it's not absolute crud. But again, really kind of shocked at how well this lasts. And this is what is this is coming up on this is a 3.5-year-old phone, right? And
at least
yeah, so it's like a 10, 11, 12, 13, we're on the 13. It was the year the 10 came out, right? It was the other one, so we had a little number jump, but excuse me, but I think the long tail on all these Apple devices, I mean, somebody was like, oh, hey, you're just using your phone for this. I'm like, yeah, because I have a $2,000 phone. That's going to last me the next 4 years, 3 or 4 years, and even if I buy a phone in 2 or 3, this thing's hanging out here, this 8, like this is going to be viable for 5 years I need to take a little bit of video. Easy. So and then you look at the iPads, like I'm really, every once in a while, there's a little thing that seems to take a little bit to load on that original iPad Pro. But man, there's nothing that says I need to drop $800 on a new iPad. I'm not there yet.
No,
I'm really not there yet that I need that. And
the only thing I would say, and this is what happened, not talking you into purchasing anything.
Don't talk me into it. Don't do it, Dave.
But let me just say this. When we got our 13s, we traded in my 10 and Ruth's 7 Plus. And we got a lot of money off. And admittedly, they've been very generous trying to bump up their numbers. But we got a I'm trying to remember for my 10, and my 10 was like 3.5 years old because it was out of warranty.
Dave,
And
Sorg doesn't trade in.
Okay.
Sorg doesn't trade in.
Okay.
I still have 2 first-generation iPads and an iPad 3 at my desk.
I'll say this, maybe not for Sorg, but other people out there, that trade-in could take that $750 and knock $300-400 off.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, and that's not, and we're talking for maybe a 2-3-year-old iPad that you want to trade in. And all of a sudden it's, oh, wait a minute. This is now not horribly expensive.
And I'm not somebody who has a lot of money to be thrown around, but when I'm going to spend money, I'm going to spend the right money on something, right? You know, I'm not even thinking about replacing my 2018 laptop, although I was really sad it wouldn't play Halo Infinite. But the Windows side, literally, there's one game breaking problem with it, and it's around Windows. So I think it's more of a Windows problem. It's left me in a panic and before a pay-per-view stream like a couple of times now. And I forgot about it and tried to do it a couple of weeks ago, and I'm like, oh right, this is why I'm investigating that NUC we were talking about on the on one of the groups to replace the certain function in productions. But anyways, that's near there. But no, it is interesting. So we have that. We have the SE and in baseball. Is that it? Is that all we did today?
Yeah, because it was kind of shocking when they were going through the event when Tim kind of did we have our Apple TV Plus, we have our, you know, the new iPhones, a new color, which he spent literally around 3 minutes on, which is fine. That's all you need.
Yeah, that's what they do.
The new one. And then it was like, you're only 25 minutes into probably an hour presentation. You're like, wait a minute, they're just starting on the Mac and we have over a half hour left.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a big deal.
Chilla, we're hitting Chilla pumpkin time, so I want to make sure we're rolling out here appropriately. If that covers all the Appleness of it today. But Chilla, you have something of a more timely Nintendo thing going on here.
Yeah, so it's I guess it's Mario Day, March 10th.
Mm-hmm.
Or Mario Day's coming, March 10th. And they have Nintendo does not usually do steep discounts on its own library, like games of Zelda, etc. They are knocking approximately $20 off of most of their Mario lineup, including Mario Kart 8. Most people probably already have it. If you are like us and you've delved into the second Switch, I may actually do this to get the digital copy and then have the other one so we can both play simultaneously, because their family sharing is not as nice as other companies. But in general, their software and their hardware is less expensive, so it's a wash in the long run.
Yeah.
But there are some games that I never picked up Luigi's Mansion, which I'm interested in.
The original GameCube one?
It's Luigi Mansion 3. I don't know. Is it based off the original?
No, that's probably with the Switch then. So
okay. Yeah, I think it's a Switch one.
Edition.
We picked up Crafted World during the last sale.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. I'm probably not picking it up.
Yeah,
I
don't think you need to do that one.
maybe at a later date. But no, I thought it's a pretty good deal. Like I said, they don't come around very often. So if you're looking for more Mario, check it out, because you can get a decent payoff.
What is Yoshi's Crafted World? Is that like that's not like the Yarn Yoshi kind of thing, is it?
Yeah, it's like the Yarn one.
Oh, okay. That always looked really cool. What was that, a Wii U
game? It is. It's a really good game. I really enjoy it.
Man, is now the time? Is this actually? It's probably bad. Is now the time that I should dive into Wii U?
Because Wii's they're claiming Wii's will actually get shut off next year.
Well, I'm not worried about getting shut off. I'm not worried about getting shut off. I'm just worried about picking up the console and maybe picking up some old games. I'm not going to do anything digital. I know that's a no-go. But also I understand the Wii's and Wii U's are not holding up well. So with the
and I think Wii U too, it had that controller that was also like a remote thing. I mean, and that's heavily battery dependent. I wouldn't want. I'm not sure what you can do to replace the battery.
That's a shame. That's a shame.
So, but I mean, I will say a lot of those games I think are going to end up on Switch. You may.
I'm still.
It'd be interesting to see what the price difference is between, because I think are still.
I feel like
price tag.
I feel like I'm bullish on Nintendo the same way a lot of people are detractors of the Mac. Oh, you're paying so much for yada yada yada, and that's me, because I'm. Says the guy that just spent $100 on a video game for his first time in his life. But I'm not. Sorry, don't play retail too often. That's when it comes.
I'm just thinking, like, what would a Switch Lite used cost?
I don't want to use, I don't want just the mobile. I want something I can play on my TV if I'm going to play Nintendo. You know what I mean? Like, I gotta. I don't know. Maybe it is like you get a lights just so I can dip a toe into it, right? And then I'll get a full one later. But again,
and everything carries over, right?
But I feel like I would never get anything digital with them because their digital scheme. Like, I am not concerned. I literally spent all that money on a digital game. I'm not worried about Microsoft telling me I can't play that game anymore. And I have not been worried about that for like 10 years with Microsoft. Microsoft isn't going anywhere. They understand that things need to be cross-play. I do not trust Sony. I don't have the experience to trust them. But Nintendo, I keep hearing these stories about them shutting things off. And then the fact that you had to rebuy stuff from your virtual console across platforms. No, Nintendo. Like, that's anti-consumer as far as I'm concerned. And when I live in an Apple world and a Microsoft world, Nintendo does this other thing, and I don't get it. I don't get it. Other than they are Nintendo, they are a video game premium brand and product. Therefore, they can do whatever the hell they want. Is why, right? As he says, wearing his Mario periodic table shirt, by the way.
I mean, that's where they have the market. I mean, they have a catalog.
Yeah, they do. That's it. And absolutely. And I get it. And they can, so they will. If Nintendo wasn't doing gangbusters in the last 10 years, I think they would be a little more amenable, right? So, but they can, so they will. And it's frustrating, and I'm not going to play the Nintendo game because of it. So, yeah. Like, really love the Wii. Love the GameCube. Didn't like the long tail of how they handled things as they were moving into online. Obviously, there's a lot of complaints about them with online. They're really late to the party on a lot of features still. So I just feel like, doesn't work for me. Downloading the apps, though. Hell, I was sad they shut down Dr. Mario World on the phone. Anyways, Dave Podnar, thank you for hopping in here tonight.
No problem. Thanks for having me on. By the way, just an update for everyone on audio heard the cat.
Is the cat
in the background?
Is he okay?
She is fine.
Is she okay? Is he or she?
No, good. She is fine because what she did is she picked up a mask.
Oh.
Carried it to the middle of the floor, dropped it, and meowed to prove that she could do it, as she tends to do as we come home sometimes and there are gloves and socks on the house if she goes and picks up and just sprinkles around the house.
Partially related. I found a dead mole in my side yard in fence yesterday, and I'm like, what animal brought this? I don't think the dog killed it. So he's not an attack chihuahua that I'm aware of. So anyways, Chilla, hope you're good, and I don't have any animal surprises.
No animal surprises here.
Just child surprises.
Yes.
Always good to chat with you guys. Thank you so much at Chill on the Twitter, at ProfPod on the Twitter, and iPhoneography podcast for Dave there as well. And also he does contribute a good bit to the Wrestling Mayhem show. I don't think I publicly thanked you for this, but you have been doing clips for social media for us during the shows for Wrestling Mayhem show. Including the Monday show, which I don't think I even asked you to do the Monday show, and you just did it. I really appreciate that. So if you see some like wild clips on my social media from Mayhem Show of some us saying some wild stuff, that's thanks to Dave Podnar, and I really do appreciate your contributions over there to that. So
glad to help in. It's lots of fun.
We will be back next week. Dutters is scheduled to return, and her monthly at this point, thanks to Penn schedules, or Disney on Ice or whatever is happening. Watch out for the Attack Pumbas. She is, by the way, Dutters was marked safe from Attack Pumbas. I'm sorry, there's this meme, and it's on, I think, Dave, you've probably seen it. It was on a forum that I think both of us are on. So it's like deadlines coming at you, and it was a Pumbaa coming over and attacking a kid over the barricade. So I discovered engineering memes this week, and it's fantastic. But anyways, thank you, everybody. It's been the Awesome Cast. You've been our awesome audience. Have an awesome week.
This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.